Before dawn, Thai armor and artillery sleep beneath camo nets, engines idling, waiting for a coded signal to break silence tonight. In the buried command post, cold officers study green screens, confirming coordinates while radio discipline snaps into encrypted readiness now. Over his shoulder, the drone operator watches crosshairs lock. One tap transmits targets, and the border turns into thunder below. From above, Thai guns form a silent arc in jungle shadows, horizon paling, every barrel aimed at sleeping Poipet below. Inside the dugout, the staff officer traces grids on green monitors, jaw set, waiting for the 040 order to fire. On the tablet, crosshairs settle to the meter. The operator confirms, and encrypted pings ripple outward through radios tonight again. A coded burst breaks radio silence. Red icons flash along the line, and crews brace beside hidden cannons at once. The first 150 I-5mm volley erupts, flat flames licking barrels. Recoil jolts the ground, and thunder rolls across trees hard now. From a Cambodian trench, shells streak overhead like white scratches. Shockwaves slam sandbags, and eyes widen in terror suddenly alone. Dawn glows faintly as impacts crawl the frontier. Smoke layers rise, swallowing bunkers and posts in choking grey everywhere fast. A radar mast takes a guided hit and collapses in clean blocks. Alarms die, leaving only ringing silence inside heads. The border guard grabs his radio, only static lines answer. He ducks as another blast chews the earth nearby again today. Across Poipet, fortifications crumble like toys, black smoke pillars coil upward, and the sunrise disappears behind fire at last completely. In the cramped bunker, the commander screams for help. Static answers, and the snapped antenna icon seals their isolation in darkness. On the map, red cut marks spread, unit symbols blink out like dying lights, and a trembling hand draws retreat arrows. Rocket trucks try to deploy in open ground. A drone icon circles, tags them red, and impacts close in fast. The drone feed zooms on the target dot. The countdown hits 0, and the rocket truck vanishes in a clean burst. Crawling past a burning truck, the guard sees the road split into blocks. Another vehicle erupts, trapping survivors in smoke. Short-range missiles launch inland in graceful arcs. Distant flashes mark Cambodian headquarters being stripped away, one node at a time. On green monitors, command nodes wink out. The staff officer taps his radio calmly, watching the network break into islands. Through the bunker doorway, smoke and rubble surge, the radio's static spikes, and the commander retreats from the shockwave again. Across the frontier, time compresses into relentless impacts. Posts disappear, fires multiply, and the defense line thins to nothing. A shockwave ring expands behind the sprinting guard, sandbags burst into shards, and the bunker wall collapses in silence. He peeks over the trench lip, impacts march forward through smoke, and a shockwave slams the edge, forcing him down again. Then the barrage pauses, an eerie hush behind the smoke curtain, while engines rise, announcing the next phase without mercy. Dust parts at Poipet as Thai tanks emerge. Reactive tiles show as flat squares, and the commander points through the breach. From the hatch, the broken border gate rushes closer. The tank pushes through, dust curtains splitting as they cross into Cambodia. A steel river pours over the line, tanks, IFVs, APCs stretching to the horizon, advancing under a thinning dawn sky. Tracks crush shattered barriers, sparks flick as icons. The lead tank surges faster and the column tightens into a spearhead. Behind broken sandbags, he watches the lead tank fill his view. Hands shake, then drop as he flees into smoke. Highway 5 opens ahead like a dark ribbon. The armored column accelerates toward Battambang, dust trailing in flat strokes behind. On the command map, a bold arrow slices along Highway 5. The officer stamps cut, and orders crackle forward immediately. From the helicopter cockpit, treetops blur beneath. Scan icons sweep the roadside, ready to erase any ambush ahead fast. Cobra helicopters skim treetops beside the armored column. The road ribbon runs below, and coordination tightens with every mile. The pilot rakes the forest edge with dotted cannon lines. Ambush markers blink out, and the column keeps speed uninterrupted. From the tree line, an anti-armor team hesitates with a launcher, strafing cuts in, and they scatter deeper into cover. Near Battambang, old rounded tanks hide by bamboo and abandoned houses, waiting in silence as distant dust signals approach. The ambush springs, old turrets snap and fire, impacts burst on Thai armor tiles, but the lead tank barely slows at all. Through a simple reticle, the gunner fires and the view jolts. The hit fails, and the Thai turret turns back calmly. Thai tanks advance in a disciplined line, returning fire. Old tanks ignite as icons, and the ambush collapses in minutes. Reactive tiles pop outward as flat squares, swallowing the impact. The tank shudders once, then aims with precision again. Over the barrel, the commander locks an old tank near bamboo. One shot lands, and the target erupts into smoke. Battambang's edge becomes a graveyard of burning wrecks. Thai armor rolls onward, leaving collapse behind without pause. A Thai round hits, and an old turret flips in a clean arc. Flames bloom as icons, while the advancing tank never slows. From the hatch edge, alarms flash. Smoke and a looming silhouette fill the view, and the crewman scrambles out to run. IFVs and infantry pour into Battambang streets, blocky buildings closing in, using armor as cover while smoke drifts overhead. Autocannon thumps hammer a tall window line, rectangles shatter into flat shards, and defenders vanish from openings immediately fast. From inside the room, suppression slams the frame, dust swallows the view, and the launcher drops as footsteps retreat. Above the city grid, helicopters arc and fire guided missiles. Clean trails curve into the last strongpoints through smoke. A strongpoint erupts into shockwave rings and broken chunks. Tiny defenders scatter, and the final resistance icon blinks off. Behind an IFV, infantry rushes from rubble to doorway. Hand signals flash, and suppressive fire keeps heads down. By noon, Battambang smolders under black columns. A small team marks the junction, while the main column surges onward. On the map, a tiny hold stamp pins the junction force. The officer sweeps the main arrow southeast, orders pulsing forward. In the Highway 5 crowd, evacuees and retreating troops jam together. He looks back as armored silhouettes grow through dust. The road becomes a long ribbon of panic. Thai armor overtakes the jam, and civilians scatter to the shoulder to survive. A tank roars past at close range, sweeping darkness across the frame. Carts tip, voices rise, and the column never stops. At headquarters, the wall map darkens across the west. Red arrows widen, and the countdown over the capital begins. Gripen formations cruise under a no-fly circle icon. Radar rings sweep the sky, and no enemy blips remain anywhere. High above, an AWAC silhouette pulses sweep rings. Tracked dots align, and flight path arrows snap into place precisely. Inside the cockpit, the masked pilot stays calm. Target boxes blink, a confirm icon flashes, and he banks toward the corridor. Bomb icons drop onto radar sites and towers. Positions blink off, and smoke blobs rise where the command eyes once watched. A comm center takes a blast. Lights die, static explodes across radios, and the commander shouts into silence again. From an AA gun POV, tracer lines climb like matchsticks, then fade. Jets remain tiny, high, and untouchable above. Every AA burst reveals its position. Red markers lock, and a dive icon follows, erasing batteries in a ruthless rhythm. A gun fires once, then the target box snaps on, an anti-radiation strike lands, and the sight disappears instantly again. Lying back, he watches tiny jets cross the sky. A sky lost warning flashes, and his shoulders sink in defeat. Highway 5 turns into a death corridor. The retreat convoy stretches thin, while distant F-16 silhouettes align to dive. The F-16 plunges and drops icons of bombs and rockets. Fire spheres roll across asphalt, shattering the convoy into blocks. Through the windshield, flames seal the road, cracks streak the frame, and a jet shadow sweeps past as brakes scream. From above, wrecks clog both lanes, survivors spill into fields, and approach arrows warn of another strike coming. A fuel truck blossoms into one massive fire sphere, shockwaves roll outward, tossing silhouettes and cracking the road apart. Face in mud, he lies still among rice stalks. Jets roar overhead, and distant impacts thump like a verdict. On the strategic map, towns ignite as orange blocks. Bridge icons stamp down, and severed lines squeeze the battlefield tight. Under the bridge, engineers kneel and plant charges. Warning tape flutters, while distant jets rumble and the retreat clock runs. On the detonator box, a red button waits. His finger presses, the beep ends, and the rumble rises into certainty. The span breaks into clean chunks and drops into the river. Shockwave rings expand, and the water kicks up simple arcs. Over the capital outskirts, fuel depots burn and the sky turns red. The commander lowers his dead radio and clenches. From a defensive post, he stares at the red skyline. Distant booms grow closer, and his hands tremble on his rifle. Before dawn, encirclement arrows tighten around the city silhouette. 3 thrust corridors glow and armor settles into place. On the command board, the officer slams assault. 3 arrows converge, and encryption pulses outward through radios fast. At the barricade, defenders whisper, "Hold." Distant engines rise, and armored silhouettes swell down the street corridor. Airport runways loom ahead as mechanized units stream forward. Defenders brace at gates, knowing the first breach is near. At the airport gate, vehicles crash through blocks. B-41 icons streak back, and one heavy cannon shot clears the line. From cover at the airport gate, he raises the launcher and fires. Recoil jolts the view, then suppression forces him down. Inside the airport compound, armor and infantry flood past runway blocks and the control tower silhouette, sweeping defenders backward fast. A tank shot cracks the control tower, window rectangles shatter into shards, and a flag icon rises as resistance scatters. In the terminal hall, pillars and broken glass frame the retreat. He turns from the doorway and runs deeper inside. Tanks enter the broad boulevard toward the government district. Turrets swivel and sniper icons vanish under methodical suppression. A facade marked by a sniper icon is struck. The wall collapses in chunks and infantry surges through the cleared corner. Over the barrel, he scans cross streets. Special forces slip into alleys, and defender silhouettes vanish one by one. The Ministry of Defense block looms ahead. Burned old tanks litter the boulevard, and the last defenders rush out. At the gates, a close-range duel erupts. One old tank becomes a burning icon, and wrecks pile as the line presses. Inside the corridor, the radio drops and clatters. Thai infantry floods rooms, and a secured stamp seals the collapse. The city goes still under checkpoints. Palace and Parliament blocks sit in silence, while engines idle and smoke drifts slowly overhead. A retreat convoy races for the river bridge. Briefcase icons bounce. The skyline burns red behind them, and orders shout non-stop. On the bridge, POV, the last trucks cross. The engineer waves them through, then sees Thai armor nearing and sprints back hard. The span is gone. Thai tanks halt at the waterline, barrels aimed across, while the retreat column shrinks into forest. Trucks limp forward, riddled with icons. Wounded silhouettes sway in bandages, moving without panic, only grim endurance toward night. From below the jeep, the old general raises his fist. Thousands of silhouettes mirror him, and a silent oath fills the air. At dusk, by rubber trees, the convoy halts. Rows of soldiers raise fists toward the forest, and engines idle in solemn quiet. A close-fist silhouette dominates the frame. Hardened faces stare ahead, dust hangs heavy, and resolve locks into place. On the ammo truck, the young soldier's hand clamps the rail. Across the river, the capital burns beneath black smoke pillars. The convoy drives into dark forest layers. The river ribbon and distant fires fade behind, leaving only engines and night. Tight on his face, the young soldier's eyes harden. Scarf flutters. Then he nods once and turns forward into night. From the truck bed, POV, the forest road narrows, red tail dots recede, and the convoy rolls deeper without stopping. At the tree line, hidden crates appear, small groups unload quietly, and the jeep waits as the jungle becomes shelter. Over a terrain map, the general shifts the arrow to guerrilla. Icons read, hide, move, strike, and soldiers nod. Walking into the jungle path, silhouettes space out. A quiet signal appears, and the last city glow is gone. In the occupied city, tanks pose beside a monument silhouette, barrels lifted, forming a cold symbol of capture. On the green monitor, the capital is stamped fallen. A new red line marks next phase beyond the river tonight. Looking back from the convoy, the river and burning skyline shrink to a speck. He holds it, then turns away. The convoy disappears into layered forest darkness. A return icon fades, and the screen falls to black. On the map, the Mekong becomes a bold boundary. Arrows disperse toward mountains, and the war reshapes into two worlds. In a forest circle, the general taps a mountain pass. Crates open, lanterns glow, and night movement becomes doctrine. Walking beside the column, boots whisper on leaves, a halt signal freezes everything, then the line moves again silently. Across the occupied West Bank, checkpoints spread like stamps, patrols drift between blocks, and tanks idle at intersections. At the river edge, Thai armor halts and aims across the broken bridge gap. The water holds them like a trench. From the cockpit, the river line glows on HUD. Target boxes fade, a hold order arrives, and the pilot banks away. Jungle rises into mountains as hidden camps settle. Sentries gesture quietly, and paths into Ratanakiri and Mondulkiri open. By an opened crate, the young soldier tightens his scarf, folds a map scrap, and stares toward the mountains. From concealment, guerrillas watch a distant patrol. A wait signal holds them still, and the moment passes unspent. Supply convoys roll under cleared checkpoint stamps. The occupation machine feeds itself, and the road stays alive with engines. At a checkpoint, papers flutter and a curfew stamp lands. The officer waves one truck through, while civilians keep distance. From bushes, hands hold a rope across a side trail. A wait signal stops the pull, and the truck passes unscathed. The guerrilla camp spreads under tarps and trees. Scouts move on ridges, and groups split into smaller cells. In a clearing, the young soldier drills silent signals. The squad mirrors him, practicing stealth without firing a shot. Through a binocular circle, he marks a checkpoint weak point with a red dot. The plan forms on a map scrap. Empty streets carry curfew icons. Patrols pass closed windows, and checkpoints lock down each intersection without pause. A jet sweeps overhead, and a radar circle nets the ground. Convoys continue below, protected and unchallenged today. Over a lantern-lit map, the general circles a checkpoint and draws an ambush arrow. 3 teams split off tonight. At a night road bend, teams crouch in jungle darkness. Traps are set, and a headlight dot approaches slowly. The rope trap snaps and a truck jolts into a clean rotation. Smoke blooms, documents are grabbed, and silhouettes vanish. He sprints into jungle darkness, clutching the document pouch. Branches whip past, and a dispersed signal pulls them apart fast. From above, teams melt into branching paths. A disabled truck smolders at the bend, and the road erupts with confusion behind. In the Thai command node, a red ambush stamp hits Highway 5. Patrol arrows fan outward, and lockdown spreads quickly. On the green monitor, Doc's missing blinks. He drags a search net across the map, multiplying patrol dots in silence. At dawn, a messenger delivers captured pages. The general nods at the map board as new arrows appear. Document icons cover a crate. The supply route glows. A cut supply stamp lands, and the plan turns sharper. From a ridge, he watches a convoy below and counts finger taps. A rockslide icon is set above the road. In a narrow pass, the supply convoy enters the choke point. Teams hide in rock silhouettes, holding their breath for timing. Boulder blocks drop and crush the lead truck into pieces. Guerrillas seize crates, ignite a fuel icon, then vanish. On the time monitor, the pass flashes red with rockslide ambush. Helicopter icons reroute and the search grid expands. Helicopters sweep toward the red pass alert, search cones rake slopes, and patrol arrows crawl up both sides quickly. Rockets ripple into a suspicious tree line, burst icons pop, foliage breaks, and a clear marker appears over the ridge. Under a rock overhang, he freezes as search cones pass. The stolen crate sits hidden, missed by meters in silence. Along a narrow ridge trail, they carry the crate single file. A cone sweeps below, and they pause behind rock. On the board, recover flips to punishment strike. A red circle highlights the mountains, and a countdown begins. The guerrilla radio crackles incoming. The general folds the map, signals scatter, and shelters are abandoned at once. Fighters line up over the canopy. Target boxes lock on a clearing, while camp silhouettes dissolve into trees below. Bomb icons fall and the clearing erupts. Shelter icons vanish, smoke rises, and camp empty flashes for a beat. Beneath dense canopy, shockwaves ripple through leaves. He crawls, dragging the crate deeper between blasts to survive. Deeper in jungle, a smaller camp forms. The general points to many small arrows, and a long war icon lingers. He opens the recovered crate and silently hands out supplies, bandages, batteries, map rolls, turning loot into lifelines for war. On the table, the general splits one arrow into three. Cell icons slide to checkpoint, convoy, and comms targets tonight. Across the city grid, curfew stamps multiply, checkpoints and patrol loops thicken, and a security net expands block by block. Under a spotlight cone, documents spread on the table. The officer taps red dots, gets no answers, and orders more patrols. From a ridge, he traces the patrol loop and marks the radio mast with an X. A tonight signal seals intent. In alley shadows, the cell slips past streetlight cones toward the radio mast and checkpoint hut, cutting a wire quietly. The charge pops, the mast snaps into chunks, lights flicker out, and comms down flashes as patrols whirl in confusion. On the monitor, a node turns grey, sabotage pulses red, and Sweep now stamps the neighborhood with urgency. They sprint through back alleys to the tree line, patrol cones sweep too late, and a decoy clatter pulls them wrong. A runner delivers comms down. The general nods once, taps new nodes, and sabotage becomes a repeating pattern. Hidden in misty jungle, he watches patrol cones sweep a reinforced checkpoint. Wire cutters ready, he holds and stays unseen. Across the grid, sweep zones expand and inspection icons multiply. Convoys slow, and the occupation tightens its net. Thai patrols kick doors and sweep rooms with flashlight cones. Suspects are bound, papers scatter, and still no lead appears. On the guerrilla map, sweep rectangles glow. The general draws a bypass route and marks a culvert target with patience. Under trees near Highway 5, a charge is placed beneath a culvert. A supply truck hum approaches, and the cell vanishes. The truck rolls over the culvert, then a burst ring opens the road. The vehicle tilts, a crate is grabbed, and trees swallow them. From the helicopter, the road gap sits exposed. Tiny dots vanish into canopy, and the search cone finds only emptiness. On the map, Highway 5 breaks in red. Reroute arrows multiply, checkpoints overload, and the logistics line begins to fray. The officer slams hunt them on the jungle. Helicopters and patrol icons flood the region, ignoring the warning of no end. The general's fist presses patience. He points to a year's arrow, and leaders nod. This war becomes survival and attrition. In dawn jungle, cell watches patrol pass. They plant a decoy trail, splitting into shadows to avoid the sweep today. Thai helicopters blanket valleys with search cones. Rockets hit empty ridges, and patrols stumble through brush, frustrated and loud again. From behind leaves, he marks helicopter patterns, then signals move. The team slips under canopy, leaving no trace behind anywhere. In occupied town, curfew sirens fade. Checkpoints multiply, but supply queues grow, stretching soldiers thin across streets each night onward. Guerrillas strike a roadside relay. A burst ring drops the pole, and patrol radios hiss with broken static tonight again. On the monitor, another node turns grey. The officer clenches his jaw, ordering wider sweeps and harsher searches at once. From a ridge POV, he watches soldiers comb the valley. He waits, then slips past their backs silently at dusk. Deep in forest, the general briefs new cells, small arrows spread outward, turning every trail into an unseen front now. A Thai convoy enters a narrow bend. A wire icon snaps, stopping the lead truck, while teams seize supplies fast. Search cones sweep too late. Guerrillas vanish into ravines, carrying crates and leaving only broken road icons behind for days. In command, the officer circles the jungle on green maps. Counterinsurgency symbols multiply, but certainty still fades away at night. Under lantern light, the young soldier trains recruits. Hands repeat stop, move, quiet, building patience into muscle every day. Across the Mekong line, both sides pause. Occupation holds the west. Resistance grows in the east forests, slowly but sure. Close on his clenched hand, he vows return without words. The scarf flutters, and his eyes stay fixed forward always. The forest swallows the convoy, engines fade, insects rise, and the story ends on a silent, unbroken oath tonight onward.